I'm Jack Armstrong in the newsroom with this special report on gang activity in Stillwater. Once again, violence has erupted and has broken the stillness of the morning, as overnight in the Saints Row area, all three warring factions of the main gang-related organizations have again traded gunfire and death. Known as Los Carnales, the West Side Rollers with a Z, and Vice Kings. These ruthless thugs think nothing of stealing what they want, engaging in prostitution, drug distribution, insurance fraud, loan sharking, and more, giving the Stillwater Police Department fits. And to enforce their territories, these marauders engage in firing weapons at anyone within striking distance, using explosive devices and military-grade materiel to manage the population of their competitors with deadly force, all while placing the law-abiding citizens of Stillwater squarely in the crossfire. When gang violence happens, and it will, tune to us for the latest details and information. For Jane Valderrama, Flying Officer Mike McCabe, and all of us in the newsroom, I'm Jack Armstrong. I'm Jack Armstrong. If you've been wondering what those new colors are that you've been seeing on the streets lately, Stillwater Police Chief Richard Monroe addressed the media on that very subject today, and our own Jane Valderrama was there. Jane?
Jack, as if this city didn't have enough to worry about, Chief Monroe revealed today that a fourth gang has thrown its colors into the ring, doing battle on the streets of Stillwater. Chief Monroe said that the name of the new gang is the 3rd Street Saints.
We've identified a new cell of urban terrorists today. While they like to call themselves the 3rd Street Saints, we are calling them nothing more than common criminals. At this time, we know very little about them, other than that they exist, and they are the driving force behind the recent ramp-up of gang violence that has plagued this city.
I asked Chief Monroe how his force will handle this new threat.
We budgeted more money this year for training, surveillance, undercover officers, and for more sophisticated body armor and weaponry. We plan to take the fight to them rather than wait for them to attack the citizens of this great city. If we act quickly and with steely determination, these 3rd Street Saints simply can't survive.
It sounds as if Chief Monroe has lined up the resources he needs to stop this new gang from becoming another major danger in a town already on the ropes. From the newsroom, I'm Jane Valderrama. Jack?
Thank you, Jane. More from the newsroom in less than 30 minutes. I'm Jack Armstrong. I'm Jack Armstrong. It was raining syringes today on the east side. For details, we go to our Jane Valderrama.
First one, then two. Drug labs blew sky high in the territory controlled by the Hispanic gang known as Los Carnales today. The buildings themselves were reduced to rubble, and the drug-making and drug-using equipment inside was destroyed. Police did not allow any press near the burnt-out buildings as they were processing the scenes for evidence. Eyewitnesses I spoke to described a lone bomber who made small work of the series of attacks and whose identity is, as yet, unknown. Reporting from the newsroom, I'm Jane Valderrama.
Thank you, Jane. We await word from Stillwater Police on their policy for cleaning up the area of both drug debris and gang member activity. It's not safe out there, folks. We'll bring you the details at the top of the hour. I'm Jack Armstrong. Jack Armstrong here in the newsroom. This just in: Stillwater Police have just cordoned off the Saints Row area of town and are warning the public to stay away, citing the warring factions of gang members engaged in today's outright carnage. Reports indicate the two rival gangs, Los Carnales and the 3rd Street Saints, are, as we speak, engaged in open warfare. On the news tip line with us is Saints Row resident and news tipster Juan Chinga Madre. Am I pronouncing that right, Juan?
How did you pronounce my last name?
Chinga Madre.
Ah, perfect, hombre.
Tell us, what are you seeing as you look out the window of su casa?
Well, it has quieted down a bit now, and, I don't see... Oh, wait. Oh, Dios mío.
What is it? What do you see? Juan, what do you see?
It's It's a great big ass.
I'm sorry?
Your ass.
Excuse
man.
me?
You big ass. You suck, dude. Suck. Hey, Jack, you know who sucks?
Who?
You.
Why, I oughta...
You suck.
I would like to take a moment to apologize. We have been victimized by a rogue. We will attempt to get a word from someone actually at the scene. In the meantime, to repeat, Stillwater police have just cordoned off the Saints Row area of town and are warning the public to stay away. I'm Jack Armstrong. I'm Jack Armstrong. At a news conference today, Stillwater Police Chief Richard Monroe decried the recent gang violence at the waterfront and commented on the assassination of local Hispanic businessman and reputed gang leader Hector Lopez.
This is just another example of the type of criminal behavior that we are working hard to eliminate. We have seized the ill-gotten goods that these thugs were trying to slip into our city. And that's $2 or $3 million worth of poison that won't be going into the arms and lungs of the youth of Stillwater. Now, while death is always tragic, Hector Lopez chose to live a life of crime, and he paid for that choice dearly.
Chief Armstrong noted that the case against the Los Carnales crime gang will proceed based on the evidence now securely stowed in the evidence lockers at police headquarters. We will bring you gavel-to-gavel coverage of the ensuing trial and will follow this story closely as it develops. In the newsroom, I'm Jack Armstrong. I'm Jack Armstrong. An explosion rocked a Stillwater police station today as hoodlums pulled off a daring heist in broad daylight. At least 4 police officers lost their lives when the side of the building housing the police evidence room was destroyed by a well-placed supply of explosives and a subsequent gun battle. Police estimate that of the booty seized, the crooks got away with drugs and guns with an estimated street value of over $3 million. Police will only say that they were outnumbered and shocked by the brazen nature of the crime. The latest on this and other Stillwater stories at the top and bottom of the hour. News as it happens. I'm Jack Armstrong. I'm Jack Armstrong. A private jet exploded over Stillwater this afternoon, stunning those on the ground that watched it happen. Our Jane Valderrama has the report.
The plane had just taken off from Stillwater International when something went terribly wrong. It was less than 2 miles out when the plane fragmented in midair. The flight plan registered with air traffic control lists the pilot as Angelo Lopez, brother of recently murdered crime boss Hector Lopez. The jet, registered to a known shell company in the control of the Lopez organized crime family, was completely destroyed as the debris rained down on the lake next to the airport. Although police have cordoned off the area, pieces of the wreckage are missing, including the black box. That will contain vital clues as to what exactly happened during the last few moments of Angelo Lopez's doomed final flight.
Jane Valderrama reporting from Saints Row. The latest on this and other Stillwater stories at the top and bottom of the hour. News as it happens. I'm Jack Armstrong. Jack Armstrong in the newsroom. We are just receiving word of a disaster at... one moment. The location is just coming into us. What do we have? It is the Kingdom Come Records building in downtown. Apparently some sort of massive explosion has occurred. I'm sorry, what's that? We have fire and rescue. They're on their way. We do not have many details at this time, but we do know that the force of the explosion was immense as the building was leveled. We are following this story closely here in the newsroom. We will bring you details as they occur. I'm Jack Armstrong. Following up on the Kingdom Come Records building explosion, it has now been officially confirmed that the body of rapper Aisha is missing amongst the rubble of the building that once housed Kingdom Come Records. Although the bodies of those on the upper floors of the building have been located and retrieved, the building fell in on itself and the worst damage occurred on the lower floors. According to fire and rescue personnel at the scene, there is almost no chance that Aisha survived the explosion or subsequent collapse of the building and the fire that consumed most of its bulk. She is, as are all of the people who were in the building at the time of the explosion, presumed dead. We will keep you posted on the tragic death of Stillwater's own Aisha. Traffic and weather up next. I'm Jack Armstrong. I'm Jack Armstrong in the newsroom. This just in from the news desk. Glenview Hills seems to be the target of gangland warfare today, as elements from the hoodlum gang known as Vice Kings are rampaging through the district as we speak. Reports indicate that everything is fair game and nothing is safe. Storefronts smashed and firebombed, vehicles being destroyed, pedestrian traffic getting caught up in the violence. Do not enter this area until the police have had a chance to quell the uprising. Repeating, Glenview Hills is under attack by the Vice King gang. If you are there now and are hearing this report, take appropriate safety measures. We will have a live report from Flying Officer Mike McCabe of the Stillwater Police Department in our Eye in the Sky Chopper 2 as soon as he can get airborne, and we will keep an eye on this developing story here in the newsroom. I'm Jack Armstrong. I'm Jack Armstrong in the newsroom. We now have more details on the massive attacks in Glenview Hills today. As promised, Flying Officer Mike McCabe of the Stillwater Police Department is now in our Eye in the Sky Chopper 2. What is the situation like now, Officer Mike?
Chaos, Jack. Pure chaos. I'm circling over Glenview Hills as we speak, and the sight of burnt-out cars, smashed storefront windows, dead bodies waiting to be toe-tagged, although it's hard to tell the bodies from the mannequins yanked from the fashion stores, Jack. It's like a war zone. While I am privy to some information given to us at the station on a need-to-know basis, we still are not quite sure what the flashpoint was for the Vice King's rampage. Now, we do know that the Glenview Hills area is somewhat back to normal as the cleanup begins. Jack?
Any word on when the shops will be back open for business, Officer Mike?
Well, we're not sure, Jack. There's a lot of work to be done, and shopkeepers and citizens alike here are keeping an eye out for any further activity as they sweep away the mess and try to get back to living their lives. In the Eye in the Sky Chopper 2, this is Flying Officer Mike McCabe. Jack?
Flying Officer Mike McCabe of the Stillwater Police Department over Glenview Hills. We'll bring you details on this story as they happen in the newsroom. I'm Jack Armstrong. From the newsroom, I'm Jack Armstrong. Yet another explosion downtown tonight. No one hurt, but the black cloud continues to hang over the Kingdom Come Records family. We're receiving reports that the reconstruction effort on their recording studio and administrative offices came to a screeching halt as an explosion rocked the construction site. No word yet on whether it was a natural disaster, a work-related incident, or more gang violence. Either way, it doesn't look like that highly anticipated Aisha retrospective will be out in time for the holidays. We are following this story closely here in the newsroom, and we'll bring you details as they occur. I'm Jack Armstrong. Jack Armstrong here, a follow-up to the story we brought you earlier. Lots of Vice Kings dethroned today by Stillwater's finest. We've been standing by, waiting for comments, and they are ready now, yes? Okay. So we take you now to police headquarters, where Chief Monroe is ready with his comments.
Hello. Earlier today, an as-of-yet unidentified man was being pursued at high speeds by perpetrators who were later confirmed to be Vice Kings. Despite the stressful and dangerous nature of this situation, This citizen kept a level head and contacted the police immediately. Once informed, we were able to respond quickly, and in so doing were successful in the apprehension, detention, and, in a few cases, termination of some of the most notorious criminals in this city. Today, a great victory was achieved in the war on crime, and if the citizens of Stillwater remain vigilant, we are sure to see many more. Thank you for your time.
What you've been listening to was the live feed of a press briefing held by Chief Monroe regarding the gunfire heard at several police buildings today. He took no questions, and as I watch the video monitor here in the studio, he is already back inside attending to the needs of the community. We'll have more details here in the newsroom as they become available. I'm Jack Armstrong. I'm Jack Armstrong. It's not safe to be a truck these days. More and more 18-wheelers are becoming the targets of successful hijacking attempts. Stillwater police are warning shipping companies and the drivers' unions to be extra vigilant when traversing both the highways and surface streets in town. Cartage insurance rates have risen recently when shipping through Stillwater. Yet another black eye for a city under siege. From the newsroom, I'm Jack Armstrong. I'm Jack Armstrong in the newsroom. William Sharp, wealthy local attorney and major contributor to the mayoral campaign of Alderman Hughes, is dead. His car was found wrapped around a tree in the Northern District this morning. Sharp was pronounced dead at the scene. No other vehicles were involved in the accident, and no other details have been released in the case. From the newsroom, I'm Jack Armstrong. Jack Armstrong in the newsroom. The body of an unidentified female was discovered this morning along the shores of Stillwater Bay. Her body was badly bruised and her clothes were missing. Police are hoping that you can help identify her. All they have to go on is that she was estimated to be between 25 and 30 years of age, 5'3", approximately 105 pounds, and was of Asian descent. If you have any information on this Jane Doe son, please call the Missing Persons Hotline at the Stillwater Police Barracks. From the newsroom, I'm Jack Armstrong. Jack Armstrong in the newsroom. If you were wondering why it took you a lot longer to get home today, your afternoon commute was stalled by a terrific two-truck collision on an exit ramp in the downtown area, snarling traffic in both directions. Reports that gunfire was heard prior to the accident have not been substantiated. An out-of-control semi collided with a fully loaded fuel tanker. While the driver of the semi was killed instantly, miraculously, the driver of the tanker walked away unharmed. We'll have more details from Officer Mike McCabe in our Eye in the Sky traffic copter just ahead. Traffic and weather on the 9s, news as it happens, top and bottom of the hour. I'm Jack Armstrong. This just into the newsroom. A train wreck in Stillwater apparently claims the life of a mayoral candidate. With a report, we go to Jane Valderrama on the scene.
Chaos at the 8th Street underpass, Jack, as the campaign bus of mayoral candidate Marshall Winslow has been destroyed by a northbound train. I'm looking at the scene from the bridge above the intersection. From what I've been able to gather from railroad officials and from potential eyewitnesses, no one knows exactly why the bus simply stopped on the tracks just as the train rounded the bend. There was some word that a man was seen walking quickly away from the vicinity of the bus, but that man has not been identified or located. Police tell me that the impact was heard 4 blocks away, and the train literally cut the bus into 2 pieces. All those aboard the bus are dead, including Marshall Winslow. Jack?
Jane, do the police have any leads or suspects? Can they tell if the bus had been tampered with?
It's still too early to tell, and there has been no official word on that, but one thing everyone here is agreeing on is that this is a tragedy, and the city has lost a great man in Marshall Winslow. Reporting live from the 8th Street underpass, this is Jane Valderrama. Back to you, Jack.
Thank you, Jane. We will stay on top of this developing story, and we'll bring you updates as this tragedy throws the Stillwater mayoral election into disarray. I'm Jack Armstrong. This just into the newsroom. We're just now getting word of an apparent attack in the vicinity of the motorcade and funeral procession of the late Marshal Winslow. With a report, we go to Jane Valderrama at the scene.
Jack, as I stand here, a good distance from a series of now burnt-out limousines and police cruisers, the scene is unlike anything I've ever witnessed before. The smell of smoke and fire, the sounds of rescue vehicles and personnel vainly attempting to find survivors. The bottom line, Jack, is that Police Chief Monroe and other high-ranking police and City Hall officials are dead. This is not a simple exchange of gunfire. This appears to be an act of war. The entire funeral procession was targeted by a group of persons unknown, and more than half of the vehicles were destroyed. Witnesses I've talked to who were lining the streets to pay their last respects to the late Marshal Winslow described the incredible noise and the extreme precision with which each rocket found its target. Jack?
I'm sorry, Jane. Are you confirming that Chief Monroe has in fact been assassinated?
I am, Jack. About 10 minutes ago, I watched as a gurney carrying the chief's badly burned corpse was loaded into the back of one of the first ambulances to arrive at the scene. Reporting live from the Winslow funeral procession, this is Jane Valderrama. Back to you, Jack.
Thank you, Jane, and stay safe. As we get details on this horrific story, we will bring them to you immediately. In the newsroom, I'm Jack Armstrong. This just into the newsroom. A deadly explosion has rocked the waterfront. Our Jane Valderrama is already at the scene.
Jack, waterfront residents and the press, who were setting up their cameras and microphones to cover the gala fundraiser scheduled for mayoral candidate Hugh's campaign, were treated to an amazing sight a few moments ago as the yacht registered to the alderman exploded in a shower of brass and mahogany. We were a safe distance away, so no one here was injured, as far as we can tell. But we have no word as to who, if anyone, was actually aboard. We don't know how this happened, why this happened, or even who was on the boat, if anyone, as no survivors have been located. I was inside the press tent when it happened, but witnesses outside say that the peaceful, serene evening was suddenly punctured by a vicious explosion that not only reduced the alderman's yacht to a pile of floating debris, but knocked out windows and swamped smaller boats throughout the marina. Jack?
Jane, while you were giving that report, we attempted to contact Alderman Hugh's press secretary, and there was no answer. Do we know where the alderman is?
No, we do not, Jack. I've asked around, and no one from the press corps noticed any official movement on the boat, as it's early in the evening, and the event was not scheduled to begin for another couple of hours.
Do we know if this was an accident or yet another attempt on the life of a public official?
Jack, we don't have any definitive answers on that, and with almost no details emerging yet, we still do not know if this was something as silly as a galley or a fuel tank explosion. But in the light of recent events, we cannot rule out the possibility that this was more than just an accident. Reporting live from the waterfront, this is Jane Valderrama. Back to you, Jack.
Thank you, Jane, and stay dry. Stay tuned as we get more details on this unfolding event. We will bring them to you immediately. In the newsroom, I'm Jack Armstrong.